When Syracuse Jews migrated from the environs of the 15th Ward, they headed east to the neighborhoods around Westcott and Genesee, Crowley and Fayette, the wilderness along Meadowbrook Creek, and the wide open spaces of Bradford Hills. In the 1950s and 60s, Crowley Street between Genesee and Fayette held a special significance.
At the time, it was the Jewish neighborhood.
Sanford and Elaine Meltzer lived here at 248 Crowley, where in 1964 their daughter Robin was born.
With her little toddler white shoes and plant herself in front of the ladies that were sitting outside speaking Yiddish, and she would listen and try to respond.
Was darf ich tun? Darf ich geben Blinzes und Kugel und gefüllte Fischnebel, etwas? Ich weiß nicht, was gleicht.
A lot of Yidlach.
The main drag on Fayette Street was a busy commercial district, bookended by Besden and Valinsky's bakery on one end and Isaac Katzowitz's barbershop on the other. While attending his father's funeral, his son Joel made a big discovery.
And some guy came up to me and shook my hand and looked at me and he said, "Your father was a legend." It was so bizarre to hear, somebody refer to my father, the barber, as a legend. But you know what? I mean, it really made me smile.
In its day, Fayette Street was a fresser's fantasy.
If you wanted kosher foods, Jewish ethnic foods, that was the place to go.
This was Sundays after Sunday school, and my sister would go next door to the bakery to Govenda's Delicatessen. They'd buy the deli, we'd buy the bread. Well, we used to stop next door and get gasoline at Skornick's Shell Station and go home. It was the best.
I learned how to cook from Dave Martin, the butcher, who was a cousin, and from Little Govenda. Because that's who they were. They just shared.
The Salt Springs Midstate was also known as Big Govenda's, where Sam Govenda was a co-owner.
No one disliked Sam Govenda. He would do anything and everything in the store. He would even carry out your groceries.
In August 1974, a fire destroyed Big Govenda's.
By the mid-70s and after, it began to change. And people became sort of afraid to go down into that area.
But there is one place where you can always return. A very special place, the Snowflake Pastry Shop.
There's an old Yiddish expression, a Michael to the Beichel.
The Ziegler family saga began in the Bronx. That's where Izzy Ziegler owned the original Snowflake Pastry Shop. 1948 was a very good year for his son Milt. That's the year Shirley Engel's family moved into the apartment upstairs from the bakery. Romance was in the air.
And I met him the first day that we moved in, and I couldn't get rid of him.
The Ziegler family came to Syracuse by way of Rochester, when in 1954, Izzy purchased Carl's Bakery from Carl Waltok.
We were told by Mr. Waltok that change the name, they'll never come.
And I also loved the cake that had the little chocolate diamonds on them. I'll never forget those.
You couldn't get near it on a Sunday. I can remember going in there before a Yontif when they would be sending challahs all over.
Even though you took a number, it didn't really matter if someone was more aggressive.
And on Sunday mornings, all the men, including my husband, would leave very early, like 8 o'clock, when Snowflake opened, and stand in line to buy bagels. It was a narrow counter, and there were a lot of guys.
It was bedlam.
They had their whole gossip section. If you think women gossip, these men really bonded.
My father was very particular. Everything had to be just his way. You know, when we worked there, we had to cut the strawberries just the right way. You couldn't cut too much off the red. You had to have just the green. You had to fold the box just his way. He was very particular, but that's why it was successful, because it was the way he wanted it, and nothing went out wrong or didn't look right.
It's mind-boggling to me that a little store like Snowflake could have such a following.
It was real cool if you could talk your dad into bringing home a chocolate cake from Snowflake.
I always was mystified at the tying of the boxes with the string that hung from the ceiling.
Claire Petrie, who worked for us for many, many years, and Helen Leverton.
And then you would get the hot bagel.
They made the best whipped cream stuff.
I could go for one right now.
Cheesecake, black bread with the strawberry topping.
Russian coffee cake.
Oh boy, was that ever good.